remember when he was born, everybody was also very sad because it was confirmed that he has Down syndrome. Right? I do worry about him hurting other people because he doesn't understand. I worry about the time I'm not around, and then I don't think anyone can be as patient. And I also understand them because my son is very disruptive. So he started jumping around and we were dead asleep. Someone was shouting at him across the aisle. I was like, you better sit down, you naughty boy.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Outside In with your host Yanto
and Farah, your go-to source for honest conversations about relationships and marriage.
So if you are ready, let's go. First time in a while, we in a different location.
Wow.
And I'm loving our guest today as well because it's a very we are very honoured to be in this position right now. To have our guest with us lah. I'm a bit nervous if you can tell, but inshallah throughout the whole episode will be better. We'll go through with the questions that we have prepared and this whole session with our guest for today.
Betul, inshallah. This guest of ours is somebody that I admire and respect. Mashallah, she is a very, I would say, resilient, strong woman who advocates for inclusivity, and also there's a lot of things that she has done for the community, and as well. Mashallah. She was also, actually she's a lawyer by trade. And also the punya personal story, to me, I feel like it's quite touched my heart lah. Whatever that you've been through, right? So, without further ado,
let's welcome Puan Rahayu Mahzam.
Hey.
How are you, Puan?
Baik, Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Farah and Yanto, for the kind words. Now I'm nervous.
Oh, mashallah.
I hope I live up to your expectations.
Mashallah. Yes, like I mentioned earlier, that you are actually a lawyer before you actually went into politics. How did you actually went into law in the first place?
In law?
Yeah.
Law was a decision a lifetime ago. I also don't really remember the details, but what I recall was that dulu choices for us in school,
limited.
Limited in the sense that, or rather, our parents' worldview of what is a good thing to do is also limited, right? So, macam betul-betul macam cerita Piramli, lawyer, magistrate, doctor. Jadi macam that's the stereotype of what was good, right? Yeah. My mom actually really wanted me to do medicine. Okay. But I didn't do quite well for bio. So I told her, I convinced her that I shouldn't put medicine as my first choice because sayang kan nanti kalau tak dapat, lepas tu macam you lose out on her. Say, let's try law. I see, because law was like a comfortable alternative. Then she reluctantly said, okay lah. So I put law. Actually, I didn't get into law the first time around. I got into mass comm in NTU.
Mass communication. Wow.
But I think a slot opened up and like a second round later, I was offered a place in law, and so that was
the rest is history.
Yeah, there wasn't really much like kecil-kecil dulu adalah sekali-sekali nak jadi teacher, sekali-sekali nak jadi doctor, sekali-sekali nak jadi lawyer. So like it kind of but I mean in a way it did meet my aspirations. When I was younger, I did a lot of debates, especially Malay debates and all that, and I kind of like that kind of experience.
The back and forth within the
right.
pembangkang and
pencadang.
Yeah, because I also used to bahas.
Yes. Bahas KPM ke?
I didn't make it there.
But
just for in school.
In school?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I was a Malay debater and an English debater.
Excellent.
But I didn't do my studies too well.
Maybe you can do a debate with Madam.
It's okay. My experience is tanam.
Cerita lepas cerita lalu.
Yeah, betul.
Also, as a lawyer, in your experience as a lawyer, you handle a lot of family and civil law cases, right? Back then, if you could give us some insight, because we are a marriage podcast, right? Perhaps you could give us an insight about whatever that you can share, maybe like the divorce rates or things that pertaining marriage, like what you observed from meeting your clients and such.
That's a very good question, Farah, because I as a young woman, I think I remembered the first time I did my internship in law school in Legal Aid Bureau. I really felt that sense of realism hit me hard, because I've always thought that you fall in love once, and there will be a happy ever after. It's a very Hollywood kind of thing. And when I went to Legal Aid Bureau and I saw so many divorce cases, I was really shaken, honestly. And I thought, how is it possible that you could stop loving someone or not care for someone? And that really started to build in me a bit of understanding of the realities of life. Over the years, I continued to evolve because even though that changed my worldview, right, about how a perfect marriage should be, or like what love is, I also started to appreciate that marriage takes effort, that we are two different people. There was this one quote, a former Syariah Court registrar told me. Dia cakap banyak-banyak kes kan, selalu dia tengok the woman will always say that dia daripada dulu sampai sekarang tak berubah. That's a typical line a woman would say. And the husband would say, dia dulu lain, sekarang dia lain.
So generally the woman will say one thing and then the man will say another thing.
I mean, that's probably a stereotype, but I think people go into marriages with certain expectations. Firstly, they start off before marriage to be different people because they are at their best and they are trying to accommodate,
trying to impress,
and trying to like work towards getting someone they love, right? And when they enter into the marriage and the whole like novelty disappears, and then you start like seeing you see something up close. There's always something that's not perfect, and then you become tired of trying to work towards it. So I learned through the different divorces and all that that life is always not perfect. People are different. Don't start off expecting magic. And you just have to keep working on yourself as well as a relationship. But even all those years, I still held on to some romanticism, and there were many cases that made me cry. Like this lady, the husband divorced her, and her father came with her at the court. And I felt so sad for the father also because like, dia besarkan anak dia, sayang datang macam yang penuh, then someone just decides that they don't want her anymore. So those, I don't know what I'm saying emotional, but I still remember some of my clients. Sometimes they have children with special needs and all that. So I don't know why so early on in this conversation I'm feeling so emotional. I think it's your vibes. You bring the best out of people. But I the divorce cases hit me sometimes harder than in some cases, and taught me realism and reality of life. And how fortunate I am sometimes.
Betul.
I think when you actually see all these cases that you handle all these kind of different dynamics in families and whatnot, does it give you a sense of like I need to learn from these cases to make my own family, my own marriage a better one, so that history doesn't repeat itself? Or is it more of you put work aside and then you put family aside?
I think it's a mix of all that, and depends on the time of the day, and there are moments where I reflect and start to appreciate, hey, these are the dangers of how things can happen. You look at the marriage and you see where that starting point is, and then you realize that you should catch before it, because there will be that one point, right, that is a turning point, and we must always try and catch it. But there are also days where I feel that I really need to cut off and not think too much and not bring it back. But I think more so my clients and the experience taught me a lot of lessons for life. Whether I use it well or whether that means I would be better is also not a given, but it does give me a better sense of the world.
Right. Earlier when you talked about the realism, right, when you realize that, hey, actually this is happening in the real world, we also have had that feeling as well, because on our podcast, what we do is we open up an inbox where they can send in anonymous messages. And usually, I think now we have reached the point where they see that they can do that as an outlet, and also because we shared other submissions, we discuss about the topics at hand, they feel like it's a safe space for them to share. So certain stories that they share is really quite shocking,
eye-opening as well.
But it made us really realize that, hey, this is actually happening while we are in our own marriages. Like if you look left and right, you don't know, like they might seem happy on the outside, but we don't know what happens in a person's marriage and things like that.
That's true.
Yeah, like she was sharing about how her marriage is shaky right now, and it's because her husband has someone else lah. So she was sharing about her challenges and how painful it is, and then she added a layer of another. Made me macam, oh my god, you are sharing this with me. She said that how our relationship started is how the other relationship is. So that means like
she was a third party.
She was a third party when she met her husband, and then now the roles are reversed, and she's in a marriage now. It's happening to her. So this kind of things, it's marriage is not black and white. I feel there's feelings involved, emotions, and
definitely challenges.
Especially when you have children, it's a whole complicated web. So yes, I'm pretty sure as a lawyer as well, you've seen so many of these things, right? Yeah.
If I could just also be candid though, I also have learned something from the divorces that I did that this is my personal view, and I wouldn't want to impose it on others, but sometimes it may be the best solution to be apart. Because I remembered one of my close friends said that, yeah, marriage is hard, but it should mean so hard. You know, I mean, of course we have to work because we're all different people, right? But it shouldn't be that you are so unhappy
every day,
and you're in conflict so much. And if that is the case, then I think you need to be sensible and think about what is the pros and cons. So I also feel that people shouldn't shun away from making hard decisions if it is for the well-being of everybody. Because the way I see it, so we also don't want to kind of stereotype divorcees because it's not easy, and sometimes people fall into making the wrong decisions. And I've learned to also not be judgmental about how people are, and it is really about making the right decisions, especially in the context of the children and family, because people who are in even divorced families, but if they are good to each other, they take care of each other, the children can grow up well, as opposed to when you stay married but you're shouting and fighting all the time because the children are in conflict the whole time. So I mean, I'm not encouraging divorce, but I think we shouldn't be quick to judge if people have to kind of exit that relationship. So it's really a case-by-case basis. That's what the cases taught me.
Which I actually agree on that as well, because I mean, we have seen quite a few cases that actually when they are separated, they get better.
Get along.
In a way, the line distance make the heart grows fonder kind of plays into this whole situation. But it works as well. But I just would like to ask, because with your experience, with the cases that you go through, did it actually make you decide to go into politics to actually help help Singaporeans, or rather to help the community to be, be more open to taking care of themselves?
I think because you described yourself as an accidental politician once before, so maybe you could
talk about it. Maybe not just lawyering per se, but this whole idea of doing something for people, being a solution provider. I saw myself, especially with family law, not so much as a lawyer as I am a solution provider, because sometimes I have to fight for my clients and go to court and advocate. But sometimes the best way is to negotiate, and sometimes to tell them, hey, back down. Because sometimes some of my clients I don't want the father to see my child ever. So is that the best decision for your child? Is it just you being personal? And sometimes I feel that I'm more that role. So I've never quite enjoyed always the advocacy. I enjoy the mediation, the coming to solutions and meaningful resolution of the matter. So that had always been in me. So I really enjoyed my time at the Sharia court, not because I was doing a lot of divorce cases, but because aside from adjudicating some of the cases or looking at the cases, I was also doing programs or looking at what are some of the ways to rebuild families, to help support divorced parents, how to support children behind the scenes, And so I think that had always been a part of me. So in a way, being offered an opportunity to do so at a larger level was something that indeed triggered that decision, that it did give me a larger platform to maybe do something meaningful, change things at the policy level, at the more national level. So that did, in a way, I suppose, lend itself towards my decision.
Wow, interesting. And also, your first few years of being politician, I would say, was quite a hard one. Yes, we can see by how she sighed. We also just like to say that we are also a couple who has been trying to conceive, right? We have been married for 5 years, and kita masih tengah usaha, insyaAllah, tengah tawakal sekarang lah. But we understand how that yearning, that you a lot of things you plan, but then you just try and it doesn't happen. So for you, during that first few years of you being a politician, not many know that behind the scenes you were also going through something personal, right? And that you had a miscarriage. So how did you handle that? Being a politician, I'm sure it has a whole set of challenges, but behind the scenes you are also going through something. So how did you manage?
Actually, if you ask me now, I also don't know how I did it because it was very painful and it was at the height of everything. I felt that so many things happened in that short space of time of the campaigning, of the post-election, and then in the first few years of my election. Because in the end, I did get pregnant, and then my having a child and all that. So the first part of it, in terms of leading up to the campaign, I was already doing at that time my UI. I didn't go, but there were already, you had to go to a lot of appointments and all that. So that was already getting quite disruptive. And when I got pregnant, of course, I was excited. And I remember the doctor telling me, okay, you can't walk so much, you can't do this and that. Then I'm like, I can't. So I was like, and at that time, I don't think she knows me. And then she was like, what are you doing? I said, I'm running for elections. And she was like, oh, okay. And then, so we had to like kind of manage it. And when I got pregnant, and it was, the first time, right? There was, you could tell that there was a whole big fuss, like, they were checking, and then keluar masuk, and then like you're just there, and then you like your anxiety just grew, and you kind of knew something was wrong. And so that was a bit traumatic. And I think I shared about it in my post, because there was this occasion where the Al-Falah Mosque had organised an event to talk about grief, and it just was an apt story to tell. And I was inspired because I was looking around the room and I actually saw people I knew there, and I knew that they had some challenges also. So I wanted to just open up that space as well. So I shared that story, and I shared about the moment where I told my husband that I don't know if I can do this because I'm in such grief, and I actually have to go out and campaign. And he was my rock. He actually said that okay, you cry tonight, and then tomorrow is a new day, and you can go out there and do what you need to do. And that gave me strength. And I've realized that because I could overcome that, I realized that I can do this. I can be a politician because I could withstand that pain and still carry out my duty. And so I think that gave me confidence in doing the work on a longer term. And so I guess then the rest is history also. It just happened. So I think it's God's grace. I think it's also support from my husband and the family. My family was very gentle and kind about it. Didn't ask too much questions. And I remembered after the whole thing, and I went to the we did the procedure to remove it and all that. Then my mom would cook, macam unspoken love. And sometimes that helps, because sometimes we're not the type, I don't know, at least not my family, to talk about it. Do you want to talk? We don't talk about it, but it's through action. So masakkan, food that is healthy and makan soup lah apa semua. And then my mother-in-law and my father-in-law came to visit, and then my sister-in-law semua datang. In fact, my niece said, "Auntie, are you sakit?" Then she cakap, "Sakit apa?" I had a flu. I mean, I didn't know how to explain to her miscarriage. So, but it's this kind of actions which just, I think, soothes my soul and just supported my whole siblings and all that were just kind to me without words, So I think that helped.
Alhamdulillah for the support system.
Yeah, because I feel that going through such situations as well. One of my mom also had a miscarriage later on in her years, and I could see the pain in her eyes, the pain in my father's eyes, and all that. And one thing that I really, really, really respect about women in general is that somehow they are built to be this resilient naturally. I feel, and the fact that for yourself also, Puan, you had to go through so many campaigns. I appreciate election is not an easy task, but you still managed to go through, you powered through, and then even using this as a motivation for yourself to, be where you are today, I would say. That was like your anchor in your politician career, I would say.
Yeah, and we've heard of women who had gone through miscarriage as well, and we ask them like, what keeps you going? And then a woman said something that still stuck to me until this day. It's okay, I can see them in Jannah. I'm like, MashaAllah, sister, stop.
Which is, I feel that this kind of situations, like for us, we can only, I wouldn't say we can only empathize with people who have lost. Who have miscarriages and all that. Oh, I'm feeling emotional. Oh my god! But yeah, I feel that this is something that only those who go through it can understand the pain.
The journey is not easy too, and I also remember those days, the waiting, the anxiety, and then the disruption to your life also, because like tiba-tiba nak kena pergi, depending on the timing and all that, and then you can't tell people about it. It's so awkward. So it's not easy.
Like different women macam dorang kata masing-masing lah, right? Every woman goes through, every woman has their reasons of wanting, but one of my biggest reason of wanting to get pregnant is so that my mother gets to see my child before she passes. Because my mom had me when she was 36 years old. So now I think she's almost 70. Yeah, so I don't know how much time left I have with her. Yeah lah, it's just one of those things where I talk about my mother, I'll cry. Okay, anyway. And also just now you mentioned it was only the first part of the chaos during that short span that you were.
That's a good word.
You were running for campaigns and everything, right? So, I think some of us already know about this. We've seen it through your social posts about your son, right? I would like it if you are comfortable lah, that you can share a little bit about your son, Aiden, is it? Number that Aiden. And how old is he?
He's 8 this year.
8,
going to be 9 next year. So fast.
8 years old.
Yeah.
So how, if you don't mind sharing, maybe for our viewers as well, a bit more about how your son is.
In the midst of becoming a first-time MP, I continued with trying, and I got pregnant, and I at that time also it was the again same thing like the anxiety, because the doctor was like not certain yet, and so sent me to this referral and all that. And I had found out, I think at 4 months when they're doing the first scan, that something was not quite right. And at that time it was not very clear. So they could guess that it was possibly Down syndrome, but it could be other disorders that could potentially be fatal. So while I was pregnant, actually there could be a chance that I was not going to make it. I mean, the baby's not going to make it. So, I was like anxious, so didn't want to celebrate so much about the pregnancy. So I didn't really make an announcement about it or whatever. And I also was didn't prepare because I was so afraid if something happened, and I had to tell my mom. I remembered like telling her, and she was upset, and I told her, sorry, I don't have time to handle your grief, or I don't know how to handle your grief and mine, because it's hard for me already. So please don't be sad. This is just how it is. I think I was quite rough with her then, because I needed her to know, because I didn't want her to also be too overjoyed, because that will be her first grandchild, and I wanted to manage expectations. So I made a very curt, and I thought I was quite mean lah. I think I was just like, okay, I went to the doctor, and then doctor say may or may not survive this pregnancy. Like macam so cold, about it, and because it was hard for me, and I didn't know how to. And then she was like, kenapa? Dah tak boleh. I'm also sedih. I don't know how to handle your sedih, because I have to handle my sedih, and your sedih I tak boleh. So I remembered having that conversation, and she must have been so heartbroken, and must have prayed very hard. So I know that wasn't a nice thing to do, but I busied myself with a lot of things, and alhamdulillah he was born. And also I remember when he was born, everybody was also very sad, because it was confirmed that he has Down syndrome, right? But I by then had come to terms with it, I suppose, maybe at the beginning. But the first week or first month, I was Googling a lot of things, and was crying every night because I was so worried about him. But I think my turning point was when I decided to actually make a speech in Parliament about my child, and to kind of just say that this is it. I have a child, and this is how I feel about it. And I do hope that the world will be a more inclusive space, a more inclusive place where people would accept people with different differences, different abilities. And it was so cathartic, because it was as though I declared it. I mean, there was at some point in my life like that sense of like takut, don't know how to explain to people, or like worried about him. That kind of all shed, because there was a lot of compassion. People were genuinely kind, and he anchored me again on what's more important in life, and the work that I had to do. So it's a bit lofty, but it did give me a renewed sense of purpose. But it wasn't easy managing the actual day-to-day thing, because the work meant I abandoned him quite a bit to my parents, to my husband. So much so it did cause some tension in the family and between us. And so it also, but it's his existence and his being that made me try to be a better person and try to work things out lah.
For us in Outside In, we always have this tagline lah. Like if you called it earlier, honest conversations about relationships and marriage, right? And we also believe that in a marriage, it's very important for the husband and wife to be able to sit with the discomfort and have hard conversations. So when you found out about Aiden's Down syndrome, his condition, have you had any conversation of that sort with your husband? Because we understand it's not many people talk about it. It almost seemed back then like a taboo subject, macam Down syndrome. Oh my God, right? So how did you and your husband macam satukan hati?
Sit down and talk about what's to come, when once Aiden is born.
My husband is an amazing I want to say problem solver, or like he sees things as like
Logical sense.
Very logical.
Okay.
And so I think that helped a lot, because there was no sense of any denial or any pause or any difficulty on his part. It's like and I really have to thank him for that, because I also know of other mothers whose husbands are like, because there are different types of disabilities, and because their husbands are a bit or families a bit like, oh, don't want to go and find out, don't want to do this and that, and then it stalls the early intervention for their children. My husband was never like that. He was like, okay. I mean, the same way he told me after I had that miscarriage. I mean, to be accurate, it was like the baby never quite formed lah. I mean, I was pregnant, but it never. But anyway, for Aiden, when we found out, I called him. He was the first one I called, and then he, and that's the thing. I suppose I never quite checked in on how he feels. I'm sure he was sad, or because I know before we had him, when we spoke about having a child, my husband is like an army guy, so he's like, he's like, he wants to have a son to serve the nation, kind of.
Okay.
You can imagine him being that sort of,
generation.
But when the news came, he never like brought that up ever. And he just remained committed to like, okay, this is my child, and I will have to do what I need to do. And so even when I was like crying through the nights of like, oh, what's gonna happen, we will take it at the time. Like macam,
He
and
really
that
was the
took
pillar.
so much, took so much weight. I mean, having to deal with the world is one thing, right? And then if your loved ones are just so he's such a steady hand in that. So there was never pause in him accepting Aiden or being worried about him, because he just knew whatever it is, I have to just go through lah. When this is, but what we had challenges with was my absence, because I was never around and never checked in on him, and that really took a toll at some point, and we needed to have that difficult and uncomfortable conversation of like, okay, where is this going for the marriage? So but never with Aiden. He's never it has never been a doubt that he would be the best father for Aiden.
MashaAllah. Wow, I think when it comes to being parents, I think in being parents in itself comes with its own sets of challenges, with the way we want to bring up our children, the way how do you want to see, or rather how do you want to guide your child in which direction and whatnot. But when it comes to a child with special needs, if I may call it, the sets of challenges are different, and every child has its own. There's no template for how you want to look after a child, especially when it comes to special needs.
That's true.
Right? And going through the motion, like you mentioned as well, you had to go, you had to run your campaigns, you had to run for politics and all that, and being absent from home, going through parenthood, especially with your first child in this case, going through parenthood, learning about the disabilities. You mentioned you read every day and to find out more about the situation. How was it then that we found that balance, if I may call it, find that balance between looking after Aiden and also spending time with your husband in a very, I would say, a very fixed schedule, a very tight schedule for yourself?
It was a lot of discipline. It is a lot of discipline. And I had to learn the hard way that I needed to take a pause, and I needed to be very clear about how I scheduled my time. So I think it was just about being smart and to be prepared about it, because and really to be willing to have that hard conversations and and notice the shifts in behavior. Because sometimes when I'm just traveling too much and then like not around for everything, I say cannot, then I'll have to check in my calendar and see, okay, which are the ones that I can sort of ease a bit, and then I get back. So for me, it's a lot of planning. So I plan really early to try and really block time. And in the past, he used to be very offended that I would like have to schedule him in the calendar kind of thing. But actually now exactly, right? But that's what I do. Scheduling family time is actually important, and to honor that schedule. Because in the past, sometimes I would put it family time, then after that, when something comes along and then I'm like, sorry, I think I got to do. Then it's like, what? So now I'm quite disciplined. But tengoklah keadaan lah, kalau PM panggil tu buat kerja ni, of course, So that was one dimension of it, to really try and be very conscious about how I personally handled my own life. But it made me into also a person very conscious of other people's challenges. In terms of the challenges of being a parent, struggling and being sometimes sandwiched. The challenges of being a parent with special needs, a child with special needs. So it really helped me with my own sort of like, in a way, policy making. And the advocacy that I do in my politics. So like, for example, at Women's Wing, one of the, at our party, one of the things that we advocate for is to understand and appreciate women's different seasons of life and the different issues that they face, and how can we support that. So this kind of experiences, having to balance and having this sort of maybe a little bit extra difficulty, softened me a lot and really knocked it knocked sense into me about appreciating the realities of life and how I need to advocate for policies that would facilitate people who have, challenges. I would need to use my opportunities and position to speak up for what they can't. Doesn't always seem so easy because when you're in public and then you've got to balance, and then you start to appreciate the government's limitations, and then you start to think, okay, what can you do about it? How can you work around it? How can you bring other partners into it? So at a larger, bigger level, aside from just sort of the balancing and trying to manage my own personal life, it gives me this basic understanding and appreciation for me to help do my work better. So in a way, it's quite fulfilling.
There's there's many links to how you actually go about your daily life as well. Being a mother.
As a politician, as you've mentioned, you give a voice to those who doesn't have for
voice
people,
to the voiceless.
For people like your son, right? But as a mother at home, do you have moments where you felt macam a little bit more worried, macam mana anak aku kan, macam dah besar, you don't know how people outside are gonna treat him. Do you have any of that concerns as a mother?
I did in the early part of the days. I continue to have some nagging concerns about how he would be, but I guess I've also come to like you said just now about how Yanto, you said about every child is different and you kind of have to have a plan for their, I've decided that my child is not going to be, he will be dependent on me.
Okay.
And I cannot expect him to be tiba-tiba boleh, and I didn't want to burden myself with that, having to shape him into something that he has to be independent. I have to try my best to make sure that all the things he needs will be available. But I am committed to being there as much as I can at the point when I have to care for him. So that took away the burden of like nak kena pergi, he must reach a certain level of competency, expectation. So that took away the thing. So the anxieties are there, but I've become a bit more realistic about what my expectations are. But I do worry about him hurting other people because he doesn't understand. I worry about the time I'm not around, and then I don't think anyone can be as patient as me or even my mom, like the people around him now, because if he is with other people, he's very difficult. And I don't think people can be patient. And of course, on a day-to-day basis, when we travel, generally people are very kind and very nice. But every once in a while, there will be occasions where orang tak faham kan? And then
you might be having a bad day.
And I also understand them because like my son is very disruptive. So an example was we pergi umrah last year, and when we came back we were all dead tired because the connecting flight was like there was a transit of a few hours. And he was like I think he was seated like it's me, my husband, me, him, and then my mom. It's like a four center one. I think my mom pergi toilet. Lepas tu tiba-tiba he started jumping around and we were like dead asleep. Someone was shouting at him across the aisle. I was like, you better sit down, you naughty boy, you're gonna hurt yourself. And then I terbangun and then I pulled him down. But apparently that guy complained. The stewardess had to come to us and she was very nice about it. But I don't think he was being mean about it. He was just he was also trying to keep the calm. He was fair in trying to get the kid to, but it's those kind of things when there is that kind of interface, it becomes a bit challenging. But generally people are so nice. But it does cause me anxieties.
I think if I may ask, because we have seen quite a few viral videos online, especially when it comes to mishaps that happen to children, and as a mother yourself, we understand how tiredness can actually for a split second make things go south, but maybe perhaps those who have not gone through the whole situation of being a parent and whatnot, they might not understand how these moments can lead to mishaps and whatnot. But perhaps based on your experience, what can you share for maybe for listeners, for new moms to actually prep themselves in order to, I wouldn't say look after their child better, but in order to make others more aware of what it is actually like to be a parent of a very hyperactive child, for example. Because we know sometimes we are so tired, like you mentioned, you didn't sleep on the flight, but just for a split second, things can go haywire.
I think there will be different things I would say to different people. I mean, in this whole ecosystem, right? There would be that tired mother or parent, and I would say, I would really want to say forgive yourself and not be too harsh on yourself, because life is so hard already. People are judging you all the time already, and I really want to tell them more. It's because like there's no tip in the world that would be suited. Only you know your situation best, and I wouldn't be too bold to suggest something that I don't know of, because the circumstances are all different. But to the world out there, I feel that we should really truly be a kampong and watch out for other people's kids and in a kind manner, and it shouldn't be a us versus you kind of situation. If your child, you should also check that your child is not hurting other people. That and we try and watch out for each other. And really just advocate for a bit more kindness all around.
Generally, kindness makes the world go round. I always say that to her.
I think for me, my personal opinion is what I found is that if we try to just understand a little bit, like you don't, because they say that people fear what they don't know, right? So maybe they are not exposed to situations like you would, or behaviors that you see on the daily. So whenever they see it, they macam like, what is this, right? So in those moments, I personally feel maybe we just need to macam, instead of flashing out ke, marah ke, which is okay, macam understandable also, but take a step back and maybe macam okay, like try to understand the other party, try to understand the mother, try to understand the father.
You're absolutely right, and also to understand the people who are apparently ignorant, right? Because so I also sometimes say to like the special needs community to not be too sensitive, and people tegur anak dia gini, really people don't know, and maybe it's about I'm so sorry, it's like this, he has Down syndrome lah, he's like to maybe if I had a bit more energy that day, I probably go over to the guy and say, hi, I'm really sorry, and he's like this, it's a bit hard to handle, I'm sorry, he's disrupting your experience. And that is what I should do. I think it should be two-way, because we cannot assume that people know. I think if I didn't have a child with special needs, I don't know if I would be so edified and non-judgmental. He's really made me like, never judge, because you never know people's circumstances. But maybe if I didn't have him, I wouldn't know how it is, right?
Right. For Aiden, sorry, Aiden. For Aiden,
we call him Aiden, although his name's like, it's a bit more like, at the beginning my husband used to call him Aiden and I would call him Aiden. Now we all call him Aiden.
Okay. For Aiden, he is non-verbal. If
non-verbal,
right? So maybe perhaps you could paint a picture for us, like when he was growing up, when you were raising him. Because we had a previous guest, right, who also had a Down syndrome child. So as a first-time parent, you would imagine that, okay, I'm going to teach my mama, papa, dada, and then she started to realize macam, how come macam tak berbual, macam he is a bit what do you call that?
The
as compared to the peers lah, kan? And then she started blaming herself. She was like, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I not teaching him proper? Like, there's a lot of self-blaming. So for your own personal experiences, how was it like having a non-verbal? How was the communication? How was the understanding?
So actually, for Down syndrome, there are different manifestations. And for Down syndrome, actually, aside from the low IQ, technically they can... depending on how it's manifested, right? They can actually learn, can be independent, just a bit slower. So that's one type. But what Aiden also has is, on top of that, he also has autism. He's also on the spectrum.
Okay.
So that layers on another dimension. And he also has actually he has hearing loss. And when he was younger, he was supposed to put on hearing aids.
Okay.
But he didn't quite like it, and he kept taking it away. He would eat it and he would throw it. Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I was it was hard lah for us, and we weren't very disciplined with it. And then he felt really sick. He had a brain infection and he was in hospital for like 2 months and all that. And I kind of like, after that I was like, okay lah, tak apa. You know, no need to force him to do all these things. And all I wanted was for him to be alive and healthy and happy. So for me, that journey was really just appreciating how I think, if you ask me, I also feel guilty. I mean, there were a lot of things I could have done to, I guess, be more disciplined with him, have him wear his glasses, wear his hearing aid, whatever. I don't know if the outcomes would be different, but I wouldn't have known if I had been around and I had tried. So I do appreciate that sense of like, I'm not saying that it's correct, but it's natural really to just kind of blame yourself for what more you could have done. But the reality is, it is what it is. I have now crossed 8 years and this is how it is. And then it's just about how do we make the next day better. So for me, it is really just trying to as much as I can to send him for the therapies that I can afford to send him to, and at least give him the necessary training and basic skills, and to curb the bad behaviours lah. Macam kalau dia pukul orang ke, dia like he push things around, and to try and manage that. So I think each family is different, each situation is different. I can appreciate where your guest is at in feeling that way. I would suggest really talking to other people. I'm in this I'm a silent participant, but I have a few mothers groups that I'm in, both for Down syndrome children, and we introduce new mothers every time. There will be an addition, and you can tell from the conversations that the mother's going through a really tough time, and then you will see the whole community rallying around her, because we all know how it feels, and we can commiserate. And she also doesn't feel spoken down to, because she knows everybody has that same situation, and so she meaning that new mother who comes into the WhatsApp group, right? And so I would say find that community, and there are a lot out there. There are people who are really kind, and even when I'm not in the heat of things, I can see that a lot of mothers will jump in to try and give solutions and ideas.
That's nice.
Yeah, so there are groups like that, and I would suggest for anyone feeling lonely to maybe reach out and then find some of these communities that are very organic and very meaningful.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, of course, when it comes to communities as well, so far, the past few guests or the past guests that we ever had, some of them are, especially for talk about autism and whatnot. And that's one common thing that we realize is having a community, having that right support system to really just push through the day. In your case also, I think your husband mentioned it. Let's take it one day at a time. It's something that sometimes, yes, of course, having plans is ideal. But sometimes we just have to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, so that we can have the necessary breath to power through the next day and whatnot. So in terms of community, I also feel it's very important. I think we should join a Trying to Conceive community also.
Yeah, probably would. There are, some can be quite, because it's very emotional.
Yeah, it is.
And so you've got to be ready and be discerning in the information and facts you get.
Yeah, so far,
But yeah, there are
Alhamdulillah,
groups.
I think Alhamdulillah, I think our we call our listeners insiders. I think when we shared our TTC journey as well, I think we receive more. We have never received so much DMs and emails from people who went through the same things. And honestly, that moment it made us feel that we are not alone in this journey. And it's something that I really urge mothers out there, or even fathers also. If you're going through any hardship, you feel that you need that extra strength, extra motivation. Finding a community that goes through something similar really helps to make you feel better. Even just a little bit makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot lah. So you just now earlier on you mentioned you have been more disciplined in terms of your scheduling, in terms of prioritizing family time, and and also being a mother, being a wife, being a politician. how then, do you find that strength? Because we know going through, even without children, we feel burnouts.
Yeah.
We only have 3 cats at home.
Yep.
We feel the burnouts as well. But you juggling so many roles as a woman.
Yep.
How then do you find that strength? How then do you find that strength to really, maybe aside from everything that we've mentioned, that inner strength to wake up the next day and say, this is what I am living for, this is what I want to advocate for, this is what I want to do for the rest of the day, for the rest of my life. What is that source of strength that you have to be where you are today?
I think ultimately it's God. In the toughest of times, I've always felt that, it's when you're in your most vulnerable and difficult that you remember Him, and sometimes I feel that that's a blessing, and I also gain a lot of calmness, and I'm very, very grateful for whatever blessings that I already have. So I think having faith helps me. I think there's somewhere to go to. There is prayers. There is that sense of calm that I get in even in the toughest of time. Definitely the support that I have gives me the ability to sometimes put aside some difficult moments and be able to concentrate on the things I need to do. I mean, there are days, I mention my mom a lot because she is a source of strength for me, because there'll be like days when there'll be home things and these things and all that, and then she'll be like, okay, you just focus on what you need to do, I will handle this kind of thing, So I think those things help, being able to just rely on the people you trust to handle some of the difficulties in life, or even at work. Sometimes my colleagues and all that, my volunteers, they know, okay, I cannot handle this, and they will also sort it out. And so I think that source of support from family and friends matter. But I also gain a lot of inspiration and motivation from people I meet. I mean, like you guys today.
Mashallah.
The work that you do. I'm very, very fortunate. I think I meet with, I've been since I was a lawyer, I meet with people who like show such, who have great stories and have such great strengths that sometimes you feel ashamed to be wallowing in self-pity when people are, people have other challenges, and you are like so blessed, like you have a home, you have a child, you have a husband, and also for me, sometimes it sets me back, being blessed, feeling blessed, but more than anything also feeling inspired by, and I'm that sort of person. I've never been self-motivated. I've always been motivated by what others do. So like macam semalam, I was really like going to bed already, but I had asked someone to help me with a presentation to, and then I felt very bad because I gave him like last minute. Lepas tu dia macam pukul 11 malam, he sent to me, and then oh sorry I took so long, and then I'm like, alamak, aku nak, then because he sent to me, I feel like, oh tak boleh, I have to work on it. So I kind of got up and like just worked on it. So those kind of things that people I work with, people I meet, trigger the there's more to life, there's something to fight for, there is a cause to tell the story, there is and so to me that is one thing that I think helps me get through the toughest of days. So I may have a tough day, but I go out and talk to my resident, and then they are like so kind about it, or like they tell me, oh, thank you so much for helping. Then I'm like, okay, feel energized again, and then I can spend another 2-3 hours doing whatever I needed to do.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Wow.
I feel like that was a perfect way to end the episode. Inshallah.
Yeah. I feel inspired too.
Yes.
You feel inspired?
Yeah.
I think because I think somehow I'm quite aligned with that as well, because I find motivation to go through the day because of my wife, because of the people.
I can tell you are so loving.
Oh, mashallah. This is Ifa camera.
Excuse me.
No, I mean it's all in the little things,
Oh, mashallah.
like when you just check in with her and like, are you okay? Like these little things, I think it's very telling.
No, I say one.
I see.
Mashallah, tabarakallah. I think
I feel like all of us share the same sentiments in terms of we use our eyes, ears, experiences to be inspired, to apply it in our lives where it fits, and try to become a better person lah.
Yeah.
Because recently, I don't know why, this is just a self-reflection, I have encountered a lot of people with stories that really centers around being parents, family, and their story really reminds me that macam, okay, perhaps it is always parents, the topic of parents really get me lah. So
Your
recently, my kryptonite. Recently, I've had this self-reflection that certain people are blessed with great relationships with their families, their mothers, fathers. Some people, we have to acknowledge that they don't have that great, loving family and things like that. So, but one thing that I macam is macam mana cakap, a reflection is that no matter what, good or bad the relationship, is that sometimes we forget that our parents are humans too. Our parents can make mistakes, right? And so I feel like we have to give them some grace lah, as perhaps when they were going through it as first time parents, like yourself 8 years ago, maybe
there's no playbook, there's no rule book.
It is literally trial and error. You are just trying to do the best with whatever you have, right? The experiences, the people around you. So I would just like to say that thank you so much for sharing your story. And also we've learned a lot from your experiences, and inshallah our listeners also
can also learn something.
Inshallah this episode is beneficial.
Yeah, and hopefully also especially for women out there, you're not alone in whatever situation you are. Husbands, you can talk to me. But yeah, hopefully that this...
No, wife, husband, okay? Don't husband go, wife go.
No. We no cheating. No. But we strongly advocate for, changes in our life. If you feel that you need to make a change, positive changes to your life, please, find the right people to help you in that journey. And hopefully this episode with Puan Rahayu Mahzam can actually inspire you to be a better person, because the best way we can do, or the best way we can move forward in life, is to always be better than we are yesterday. That's the closest that we can be to improve, constantly improve, and hopefully make the world a kinder place, so that we don't judge. That's the most important thing. Don't judge. Yeah?
Don't judge, be kind.
Don't judge, be kind. Oh, we can make that tagline lah.
Don't judge, be kind.
Thanks for inspiring us.
Thank you so much. So if you like what you hear, please follow us on all our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube.
Share it with all of your friends and family members so that they can benefit from this episode, inshallah. Till next time, Assalamualaikum. See ya.